I have a very special and very exciting announcement to make. Today's video is sponsored by Groups Recover Together. This is an outpatient treatment program that I absolutely adore. Not only is today's video sponsored by them, but I am now working closely with them. And when I tell you that I love these people, I genuinely love these people. It has taken me about 6 months of calls and meetings and shadowing their group therapy sessions to decide whether or not I wanted to be a part of their team. And I am just so proud of all the work that they're doing. And I'm so proud to be a part of Groups. Groups' mission is to make effective, high-quality treatment for substance use disorder accessible to all those who need it, regardless of who they are and where they live. Their treatment model strongly lends on harm reduction, MAT, community, and whole person care to help individuals break the cycle of addiction to get their lives back on track. Groups is currently located in 12 states where they offer both in-person and virtual treatment options. The great thing about Groups is they offer individualized treatment plans that is specific to the person. They focus on harm reduction and they are non-judgmental. Even if you make a mistake, which those of us in active addiction and trying to get out of active addiction often do, they will not shame you and kick you out. They're there to help you from start to finish. I had the privilege of shadowing one of the group therapy sessions, and it brings me to tears because I immediately fell in love with these people. I immediately just wanted to give them a hug. And these therapy sessions that are done virtually are so powerful. It really gives these people a sense of community. I felt as though I belonged there and I was a shadow in the background. They couldn't see me, but I could see them. And I loved hearing their stories. Groups is very unique in that they help you from day one all the way through to get your life back on track. They can help you with SNAP, with housing, with clothing, with getting an ID, and they genuinely are there and they care about the entire process of getting your life together. This is not just harm reduction. This is not just detox. It's not just MAT. It's not just therapy. It's not just getting your life back together. It's everything all in one. And they help, like I said, from start to finish. So I am a proud partner with Groups Recover. I will link all of the information down below, as well as my very own landing page with Groups and my hotline number. Thank you so much, Groups, for allowing me to be part of your amazing program. Thanks to my drone guy, Drone Ambassador on Instagram, I'm now addicted to freaking Red Bull. Thanks, bro. Oh, like pineapple juice and chemicals, but it is effective. What's up, you guys? Welcome to today's video. As you can tell by the title, I got a very interesting DM a couple of weeks ago, and I thought that we would talk about it and I would make an entire YouTube video about it because that's just who I am at this point. If you guys are new here, hi, my name is Jess. I'm a person in long-term recovery who has served time in prison, and my entire crazy life story is in the description box down below. If you want to follow me on any other social media platform, TikTok, I just got verified over there, Instagram, Patreon, that's $2. It's only ever gonna be $2. All of that is linked down below, as well as my vlog channel and my podcast and everything else you can imagine in the description box. All right, without further ado, let's kick this thing off. Just to give everyone a recap of a little bit of my story, I am a New Yorker. I was born and raised in upstate New York, and over the course of my life, I traveled all around the country, starting at like 18 or 19 with a magazine crew, and this led me eventually to Arkansas. Now, the reason why I was in Arkansas is because I was on the run from felony charges in New York that I was actually innocent of that one time. Just that once. And because I did not want to fight my case from county jail in New York, I went on the run, which is not a good decision. Going on the run usually doesn't make matters any better, but I had done this many times in my life. So while traveling around the country on a magazine crew, which is a sales company, I decided that I was going to go to Arkansas. This was in early 2011, and I had about 2 months sober from my DOC, which was H. I was so proud of myself because I had 2 months sober, and I really felt like I could help everyone else around me get sober. I felt like I was ready and that I was strong enough to pour into the people that I cared about. So I got a phone call from a friend of mine, Robbie, an ex-runner of mine. You guys have met him on the channel. Side note, he's doing very well. Him and his girlfriend just had a baby and they're doing great. But I decided that I was going to go to Arkansas because he was at the height of his addiction. And at this point, I felt like I could. So I was intending to take 2 weeks off of the magazine crew. I was gonna go to Arkansas, help Robbie get sober, and then go back to magazine crew. Now, I had a lot of intentions here. My intention was to only spend 2 weeks in Arkansas, And the reason being is if you spend too much time in one area when you're on the run, you're just asking to get arrested. And I knew that because at this point, this was like my third or fourth time going on the run from something. Parole, a boyfriend, felony charges, whatever the situation was, I was the kind of person that would just run when shit got too hard. Or if I thought I was gonna go to jail. Definitely broken up with people by just not being there when they got home. I was not just one red flag, I was all the red flags. I was super toxic. Not that that's funny, but we have to laugh through the trauma. Anyway, let's get back on track. I go to Arkansas. And very quickly I realized I am not able to get this person sober. This person does not want to be sober. They don't want me around them. They don't even want me here. And seeing how different Robbie was in his addiction, it broke my heart. But I didn't leave because I didn't want to give up. Even though I knew that this was not going to go well, I decided to stay. This was just, the first decision in a series of many bad decisions, obviously. But during that time, I was around people that were actively using. And because I had never treated the trauma or my mental health or anything that was the root cause of my addiction, I fell right back into it and relapsed. Now, just to pause here, I have relapsed probably a dozen times. That is generally the story when we're talking about substance use disorder. I quit and was abstinent many, many times. And I relapsed after a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. I would always go back to it. And I felt as though that was just who I was. I thought that I could never make it out of my addiction. So now I'm in Arkansas, 2 months sober, I relapse again and I get addicted to methamphetamine. That addiction brought me to the lowest of the low. And during my 6 months on the street of Fort Smith, Arkansas, maybe a little bit longer, I had went from 120 pounds down to like 80 pounds. I was very skinny. I was very depressed. I wanted to unalive myself many times. I started dating somebody that was also a dealer. That put me in a lot of really bad situations as well because he kept getting into debt and I kept having to get him out of debt. And it was just chaos. Every single day was different. Every single day was chaotic. And every single day I no longer wanted to live. I hated myself. I hated looking in the mirror and I was genuinely just at rock bottom. So October 20th of 2011, I get arrested in Fort Smith, Arkansas at 4:30 in the morning, and I will leave that story in the description box down below or on the card where I describe my arrest story. And the cop that arrested me DM'd me as well, and that is a great video. Definitely go check that out. So I go to prison eventually after 6 months in county of fighting my case. I go to prison. They put me in McPherson, which is a maximum security prison for women. And because I was 6 months pregnant at the time, I went to Wrightsville, and then I was kicked out of Wrightsville because I beat up a chomo and I was sent back to the max. So, hope everyone is caught up now. This is where this officer was working. He was working at McPherson unit. I did not interact with the officers that often. I really tried to avoid it at all costs for multiple reasons. One, I don't need women thinking that I'm a snitch. 2, I don't really care to interact with you. I just want to do my time and get the hell out of here. And a lot of the officers that I met were really cruel and they were really nasty. They would talk crap and they would yell and they were aggressive. And for everyone that thinks like that's just prison, if you don't like it, don't go, the officers have to keep you there. That's their job. They have to keep you there, follow the policy and the regulations. Nowhere in that handbook does it say treat inmates like garbage. Nowhere in that handbook does it say be mean to them, use reverse psychology to try to deter them from going back. Nowhere in the handbook does it say that. It doesn't. And yet every single day that I was in prison, I was fearful of the guards. And a lot of the women were, because they would write us up for the most petty, tiny things like giving someone else a ramen noodle. Like, it was just so ridiculous. And when you restrict inmates that heavily to where you can't even give someone a freaking ramen, they're gonna rebel against that and try to find ways to get around every single rule. So every single day I felt like I was in survival mode. I was constantly looking over my shoulder, constantly fearful, constantly in survival mode, because I don't know if the cops are gonna wanna come in and write me up. I don't know if someone's gonna jump me. And being in survival mode that whole time causes PTSD. And once you spend that much time in survival mode, it's really hard to turn it off. Before we get into the DM, I do want to say that a lot of corrections officers watch my videos and they DM me, police officers, parole officers, corrections officers, nursing staff, people that have been to prison, delivery trucks that go to prison. I hear a lot of stories in my DMs, and I'm just so grateful that you guys take the time out of your day to DM me and let me know that my videos make a difference and that they give you a different perspective. And I just really genuinely from the bottom of my heart appreciate you guys watching my videos. If you're a corrections officer, police officer, nursing staff that works at a prison, a truck delivery driver that goes to a prison, whatever, a parole officer, if you are in that field and you click on my video, it means that you're coming to my channel with an open heart and an open mind, and that means everything to me. My sole mission is to get people to think differently about prison and to get other people to stand with me and fight against the abuse that goes on behind those walls. McPherson Prison had a lot of controversy. There was a chaplain that was convicted of sexually assaulting 5 women there, and I've shared that story a couple of different times. It was a really crappy place. I did chain gang. My hands were cut up and bleeding. I was dehydrated almost every day because the water was either brown or gross. They made us cut our hair. They screamed at us if we talked in the hallway. It was just a really negative environment, as most prisons are. But my experience there made me want to fight for prison reform. They don't even give women tampons. I had to fight for tampons. I had to make my own tampons, and then the officers would take them away. So my whole experience there made me want to fight for prison reform, and I now have a bachelor's degree in correctional program support services because of the trauma inflicted upon me at these facilities in Arkansas. Okay, let's get to the DM. I've rambled on long enough. I apologize. He did say that I could share his name, but for his own privacy, I'm gonna blur it out because I don't know. He says, "Hi, I'm sorry for the random message, but I recently found your YouTube page and I'm really enjoying it. I'm a former sergeant at McPherson Women's Unit in Arkansas. I just wanted to commend you for being so open and honest with your story. Also, if we ever cross paths and I was rude or disrespectful to you, I would like to apologize for it. Please keep creating such honest, truthful content." I said, "I remember you. I appreciate your kind words." He said, "I'm watching a video right now. I knew you looked so familiar. I'm no longer there. Long story, but I am very proud of you. Your story is amazing." And I said, "I caught the former, LOL. And again, thank you so much. I hate Arkansas's lack of empathy regarding pregnant women. I believe every prison should have a nursery program, but that's a fight I'll be fighting forever, most likely." He said, "You're very welcome. Unfortunately, our state lacks empathy in many areas regarding prison, but you are right, pregnant women and nursery programs should be a top priority. I watched your video about kind officers. That's one of the reasons I'm no longer there. I was accused of being too nice and showing favor to certain inmates. Also, because I had cancer and they were fighting me because of the medication I was on." He said, "I'm cancer-free since October 2013. This is a very common issue. First of all, thank you so much for your DM. Sometimes it's hard for me to know if I'm making a difference, and sometimes I get kind of caught up in people telling me that I'm lying about my experience, and that really just weighs on my heart because I am being so vulnerable and so open and so honest on this platform that sometimes it really brings me down to read some of the comments that I have to read. But your message just helped me reaffirm that I am making a difference and that people are watching my content, and I am being honest. It just meant a lot to me that you reached out to me. As far as prisons lacking empathy, I think there's just a very real issue when it comes to corrections officers and inmates having PTSD. Corrections officers see the same thing we see every single day, and if you experience enough traumatic events in a row, you can lose the ability to feel empathy. Correctional officer fatigue is a real thing, and I think we need more mental health services available for inmates and corrections officers. It is not an easy environment to walk into every single day, and for officers to repeatedly tell me that they could not handle the job because they were told they were being too kind kills me. But this is literally what happens. I've seen this 100 times over. The good officers rarely stay, and they leave bitter and mad because they're trying to treat inmates with kindness and respect and empathy, and they're being eaten alive by their coworkers. And could you imagine every single day you're trying to gain respect from the inmates, you're trying to treat them with respect, and your coworkers are telling you that you're trash? It's just so ridiculous. This superiority complex that some officers have, and they try to project that onto good officers, makes me violently mad. We are all human beings that have all made mistakes. There is no perfect human being on this planet. I think people lose sight of how easy it is to go to prison. It is so easy to find yourself in that situation and find yourself behind those walls. I've seen people in car accidents that involved a death end up in prison. Car accidents. I've seen women in prison for child support, men in prison for child support because they lost their job, they couldn't pay their child support. There's all different kinds of reasons why people go to prison. Substance use disorder being the leading cause of incarceration. And what's absolutely horrifying is we hold 5% of the world's population, but we incarcerate 25% of the world's inmates. We incarcerate more citizens per capita than any other nation in the world, and that is because the war on drugs. Kind officers need to be promoted, but instead they're criticized and they're told that they're being too kind and they're favoring inmates too much. And that makes me, like I said, violently mad. I do remember this officer, and my one memory of him really is like swishing in and out of the barracks. Like he'd be in and out like really quickly. But I also remember a lot of the girls talking to him about certain issues, you know? They weren't afraid to go up to him is what I'm saying. And when you have an officer that wants to build a rapport with inmates and that wants to listen to them and hear what's going on with them, they can make all of the difference in the world. I have wanted to unalive myself in solitary confinement, and the officers during my time in solitary confinement were so cruel to me that one of them left me standing in the shower for like 4 or 5 hours because I told him I was done and he didn't like my tone of voice. Officers were very cruel in my experience, and the ones that were really nice and kind and cared didn't end up staying. I think that's what is so wrong with our prison system. Not only are we treating inmates like trash, we're treating them like animals, but we're then expecting them to not come back to prison, but we're pushing them into a society that's unforgiving, that doesn't want to hire you or rent to you or give you a second chance. I say it all the time. People love a comeback story, but no one wants to help on the come up. Why, bruh? Just hire felons. Hire them. I promise you I will outwork every single person. I'll outwork everyone. So I feel like I've rambled on enough, but I am very grateful that this sergeant reached out to me because it just makes me realize that I am making a difference. And that is what keeps me going on this platform, is that I'm starting the conversation and people are listening, and it just makes me very happy. So thank you so much, officer. I'm not gonna say your name, for reaching out to me, because we need to have these conversations if we're ever going to see change. I'm gonna end today's video here. As always, I love you guys. Stay safe, stay sober, whatever that looks like to you, because there is no wrong way to recover. And I will see y'all in my next one. I don't know, make sure something. I'm fucking tired. I'm tired. Okay, my hair fucking sucks. My hair fucking sucks today. I washed it. It's super clean. It's so annoying, as I know I am as well. It doesn't taste like diabetes at all. I can't even film. I can't film like this. My hair is terrible. Hey, I'm filming! They are loud.